and welcome back to day 2 of our summer camp video series. Today we're going to be looking at baking soda and vinegar, and how these two things interact with each other, and how by themselves they don't really do anything, they just kind of sit there. And we're going to talk about why that happens and why they react with each other. In doing this, we're going to use these two things to create bubble bombs. Bubble bombs are really cool, and I'm going to show you how to make them.
So to make bubble bombs, this is what you're going to need. You're going to need half a cup of vinegar, a tablespoon and a half of baking soda, food coloring if you want to add some color to your bubbles, soap, because all we need to trap the gas in something. You need small sandwich Ziploc bags, paper towel, half a measuring cup, and a tablespoon measure. What you're going to want to do is you're going to take our paper towel and we're going to rip it in half because we don't need the full sheet. And what we're doing with the paper towel is we're creating something to hold the baking soda. This is because we don't want the baking soda and vinegar to react right away. We want to be able to slow down the reaction just a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our first tablespoon and we're going to put it in the middle of our paper towel. And none of these have to be exact, but this is roughly what you want. And now this is me putting just about 1.5 tablespoons of baking soda. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fold it up and we're going to make a little pouch that'll hold all the baking soda. So you want to fold it in halfway and you're going to fold in the other half and you're going to fold it all the way over. And now what you're going to do is you're going to fold the two ends in, just as like you see me doing in the video. And once you've done that, you should have a nice little pocket full of baking soda. And once you have that, we're going to put that off to the side and we're going to start working on what we're going to do with the Ziploc bag. So what you're going to want to do with the Ziploc bag, it's really important that the Ziploc bag is brand new and doesn't have any holes in it. Because if it has any holes, then all the gas that is created between the vinegar and baking soda will just escape. So make sure you just close your plastic bag to make sure there's no holes in it. Then what you're going to do is you can either have someone hold it open for you or you can roll it down the sides. That way it stays open for when you need to put in your vinegar. Now that I have the bag standing up, we're going to grab our vinegar and we're going to grab our half cup measuring cup. And what we're going to do is we're going to pour out half a cup of vinegar and we're going to pour that straight into the bag. Once you've poured it into the bag, we're going to move on to adding the dish soap. The dish soap is really important because that's where all of the bubbles come from. If it wasn't for the soap, then we just produce a bunch of gas. And so the dish soap, what it does is it creates bubbles that hold in all the gas that we're producing. So we're just going to put in just a tiny little bit of dish soap. You really don't need that much. Now that you've added your dish soap, this is where we can sort of start to have a little more fun with this. For you can add, if you have food coloring, this is when you should add your food coloring. And this is when you can add your favorite color, or you can add a couple different colors just to mix and match and to see what happens. For me, green's my favorite color, so that's why I chose green. And if you don't add any food coloring, then the bubbles will most likely just be white. It depends also on your dish soap that you're using. So now that you've added your food coloring, we're going to seal up the bag and we're going to mix it all together. That way it's ready for our little baking soda pouch and it'll be ready for us to set off our bubble bomb. Once you're ready to set off your bubble bomb, what you're going to do is you're going to open up your bag. And this is really important because you have to be really careful because as soon as you drop the paper towel into the vinegar, it's going to start to react. So what you're going to do is you're going to place it in nice and gently and you're going to pinch it through the bag. And then what you're going to do is you're going to seal the Ziploc bag. And you need to make sure that the Ziploc bag is super, super tight and that no air is going to get in or out. This can be a little challenging, and if you need help, don't be afraid to ask your parents or a sibling to help you seal the bag. But once you have that, you're ready. Now that you're ready, what you're going to do is you're just going to drop the paper towel into the vinegar. And sometimes it'll take a little bit for the vinegar to absorb through the paper towel and get ready to set off. But once it's ready, the gas will slowly build up more and more until it explodes. Here's a better example. So I dropped the paper towel in the vinegar, and the vinegar is starting to absorb through the paper towel. And then that vinegar and the baking soda are starting to react. And what that reaction is doing is creating a bunch of gas. And the Ziploc bag is holding that in. Sometimes you're going to have to shake it around a bit for the reaction to really start going. But once you start filling it up with air, that's when you're going to want to place it on the ground because then it's ready to explode. Most of the time, the plastic bag will explode right where the seal is. But sometimes, like this one, you need to be careful because it might explode somewhere else. As you can see, it exploded with a little slit in the plastic bag. This is probably because it just got a little worn or a little weaker there. And that's where the plastic bag decided to pop. So I decided that it'd be interesting and really cool to see what would happen if one of these bubble bombs went off underwater. So this is what this is. As you can see, I'm placing it underwater and I'm just shaking it around just so the reaction can start happening faster. And you can see that there's little holes in the side of the bag that are letting the air leak out. But there's enough air being produced that it still will explode. And as you can see, as more and more gas starts to build up within the plastic bag, because all that gas wants to go up to the surface, it becomes harder and harder to push down. Also, when it explodes, it makes a really cool noise. So you're probably wondering why this happens. This is because the vinegar and baking soda are like opposites. And when they combine, they become one. And in that process of becoming neutral or becoming one, they release off a bunch of gas. So, you're probably also wondering how this connects to the Bible. So, this connects because when Jesus was on earth, when he came down, he had disciples that were following him. And his disciples were always learning from Jesus. And they weren't just learning by just standing around and just watching what Jesus was doing and watching Jesus perform miracles. No, they were interacting with him. They were asking him questions and they were learning. And they were also learning from each other. They didn't just sit there in the back of the classroom and just, stand there. They constantly were interacting with each other and constantly pushing each other to learn more and to grow more in faith. And this is really important because this is what we need to be doing in real life. We need to be making sure that we have a strong connection with God and with our friends so that we can continue to grow. Because if we're by ourselves, we'll just be like the baking soda by itself. Really, we'll just be sitting there, not really doing anything. Whereas when we interact, we can grow. Just like how the plastic bag, as soon as the baking soda and vinegar interact with each other, it starts to react and starts to grow. That's why it's really important to have those strong relationships.
I hope you have a better understanding of why baking soda and vinegar react now. And I hope that you understand why they're reacting with each other. I also hope that you remember why it's so important for us to constantly interacting with each other, especially with our friends and those that might not think of as our friends. And I also hope that you come back tomorrow as we will be making catapults with popsicle sticks.